Moving on a little bit more, I want to get into this op-ed that came out a few weeks ago from The Guardian on May 19th. It's called Speak Now, Why Pop Stars Must Do More to Defend LGBTQ plus Fans. It's by Jeffrey Ingold, and he's basically calling out Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has flagged her sympathies with this community, so why is her Eras Tour visiting U.S. states enacting repressive laws without comment? So I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'm gonna highlight some of the biggest parts. This person says, look what an overly aggressive security guard made Taylor Swift do over the weekend. This is a few weeks ago. The singer won praise for calling out a guard mid-performance who was being rough with a female fan. However, as a queer Swiftie, I can't help but wish she would channel that same energy and her enormous platform into denouncing the record number of anti-LGBTQ plus laws being introduced across the U.S. Since starting in March, Swift's Eras Tour has taken her to numerous states that have ushered in some of the most extreme anti-LGBTQ bills in decades, including Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. Yet the singer has stayed silent. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Her not saying anything is awful. It's violence. That's what this sounds like to me. It's because she hasn't said anything, she's bad, and she needs to use her platform to push a political agenda. She can't just sing songs and be entertaining. No, she's got to push a political agenda. For some, Swift's silence undermines or at least draws into question the flurry of LGBTQ plus advocacy she embarked on in 2019. After a gay friend helped Taylor realize her position on LGBTQ plus rights wasn't, quote, clear enough or loud enough, she came out swinging for the gays. Close to 1 million people signed her petition in support of the Equality Act. She brought drag queens on stage with her at major award shows and also made enormous donations to LGBTQ charities such as GLAAD and Tennessee Equality Project. She also released the homophobe bashing single, You Need to Calm Down. Though perhaps erasing that from our collective memory would be more of a win for the LGBTQ rights. This goes on a lot more, saying that asking questions like, do we expect them to understand and respond to all hot button issues going around in the world? Which countries is it okay for them to perform in? Now more than ever, these are valid questions to ask of pop stars. Major pop tours are water cooler events akin to sports games. It's understandable that many stars are wary about speaking out, particularly when on stage. Audiences have come for a show, not a political rally. And that's the only sentence in this entire op-ed, as I read it, that's important to read, that I actually think is smart and intelligent. It's understandable that many stars are wary about speaking out, particularly when on stage. Audiences have come for a show, not a political rally. Audiences have come for a show, not a political rally. Now, the author of this should keep reading that again and again and again and again, because audiences have come for a show, not a political rally. But alas, Taylor Swift came to Chicago this last week and gave people the political rally. Yes, she did. And so I'm gonna try to bring up that video right now. She gave everybody that political rally, and a lot of people did not like it nor wanted to hear about it, but she still gave it anyways. And so we're going to play this video of Taylor Swift in Chicago, giving everybody the political rally that nobody wanted. I'm sorry, on YouTube, I want to make sure everybody can see it. So I'm pausing real quick to make sure I'm sharing my screen so everybody on YouTube can see this as well.
The most beautiful experience for me to look out into the crowds on this tour. I'm looking out tonight, I'm seeing so many incredible, just individuals who are living authentically and beautifully, and this is a safe space for you. This is a celebratory space for you.
I'm feeling this is my first Taylor Swift.
And one of the things that makes me feel so powerful is getting to be with you and watching you interact with each other, being so loving and so thoughtful and so caring. And so being with you during Pride Month, getting to sing the words to You Need to Calm Down, where there are lyrics like, can you just not step on his gown? Or Shade never made anybody less gay. And you guys are screaming those lyrics.
Shut up, Taylor.
In such solidarity, in such support of one another, in such encouraging, beautiful, acceptance and peace and safety. And I wish that every place was safe and beautiful for people in the LGBTQ community. I really wish that.
Yeah, so she goes on even more. I wish that everywhere and then she goes on to say things like, we can't talk about Pride Month without talking about pain. There have been so many harmful pieces of legislation that have put people in LGBTQ and queer communities at risk. Okay, so here's the biggest thing to talk about with this as we wrap up this segment. First thing, Taylor Swift is actually a genius. Here's why. What Taylor Swift did is she went to all the states, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, all the places that have put in what is deemed anti-LGBT. It's really anti-groomer legislation. They put in anti-groomer legislation, and she didn't talk about any of it. And some people started noticing this. Some people started noticing that she hadn't, and then it was the LGBTQ people that were like, hey, she's not talking about it. She's not talking about it. We need to be like, what? Why isn't she being loud enough? She's got to say something. She's got to say something. She went through all those states and never said a thing. You want to know why? Because people in those states didn't want to hear it. People that went to her shows in those states, for a lot of them, were like, that's not what they like. The article said. They want a show, not a political rally. And then she comes up to Chicago, which is known to be a relatively gay-friendly city in Illinois, a very progressive state. She comes up to Chicago, and then she denounces the anti-LGBTQ legislation. She says, I'm so happy to be here with you this Pride Month and support the gay community. Now she'll speak out. Taylor Swift is a genius, everybody. Now, she might personally actually care about the LGBTQ agenda, stuff like that. She might. But you could tell that it's still a lot more about the money for her and about the press. Because when she was in those southern states, she wouldn't touch those issues with a 12-foot pole. So much so that people even started writing about it. But now she will come out when she's in Chicago for multiple nights in Chicago and talk about the LGBTQ movement. I got to say, applause for Taylor. But at the same time, I also think women, especially because you're the main audience base of this, boycott Taylor Swift. Honestly, I've never, I mean, her old music is okay, her old country stuff, but then she abandoned country music and sold out for pop, which I've never been a big fan of, period. But I mean, she pushes she's flat out come out and pushed a political agenda. She did it in 2018 in the primaries, came out and said awful things about the gubernatorial and Senate candidates in the Tennessee primaries, Republicans, and then also endorsed Democrats, consistently endorses Democrats, pushes LGBTQ stuff. I wish that women would boycott Taylor Swift as much as they boycott Target. Why not? Yes, Taylor Swift is in some way a brand genius in the fact that she was able to avoid the issues when she was in the states that didn't want to hear about it, but now talks about it and now can be the queer icon for coming out and saying something when she's in Chicago, one of the most like LGBTQ ally places. Of course, now she'll talk about it.